Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Midland Reporter Telegram's Area Football Report. Well, we're winding down here, folks. The season is getting deep. We're into the district seasons. We're into the district schedules now for most teams. I believe it's week 7 here, and it's going to be a Friday, October 15th. Couple of things to start off with. Greenwood does have a bye last week, and I'm pretty sure they probably need one over there, don't they, this week after last week?
They need one in a lot of ways. Get mentally and physically, I guess, healthier is the word, because they've taken a beating on both sides.
Midland Christian will return to the field this week. They get their first long road trip of the year. They will take on Grapevine Faith, a pretty good team. They run the option over there. They run an Air Force option. So it's going to be an interesting test for Coach McClendon and his Mustangs this week. We start off in District 4-3A this week. Andrews, after a bye last week, gets to take on Fort Stockton. This is a game that Andrews should win. The question is, how handily can they win this thing?
It depends how consistent they play. That's been a problem throughout the season. In the last victory against Anthony, that's probably the most consistent they've played on both sides of the ball. So maybe that's a sign that things are coming together better. They should win this game because Fort Stockton has just struggled all year long offensively. Seems like defensively they're doing okay, but offensively they just can't score points.
Right. And the other game in 4-3A, real quick, Monaghan Seminole this week. Does Seminole have a chance if they play like they did last week?
Yeah, they play like they did last week. Like Coach Hanna said, it seemed like Seminole played lights out and we played without the lights, basically. Seminole put it all together last week, and that's kind of typical Chris Birch team.
Yeah.
Maybe non-district, they kind of struggle sometimes, but then all of a sudden when district comes on, it's like Seminole turns it up several notches.
Right. I mean, that's a key thing that those teams have been. Chris Birch has produced good teams over the years, and he's got a young team. He's finally got some kids healthy. We go to District 2-2A, Division 2. Interesting race shaping up here. Idalou already has shown a little bit that they're kind of, not necessarily the class, but they're kind of the team to beat right now. Interesting game this week going on 50 miles east of here in Coahoma between Forsan and Coahoma. Forsan gets a come-from-behind win, wild and crazy game against Anson last week. Coahoma coming off a big win. How do you think this game is going to go?
Coahoma's way.
Really?
Coahoma's playing great defense. They played great defense all year long. They're really rolling. And it seemed like their offense was really going. They got 360 yards of their 400 some yards they got last week, win against Post, and the wing T is running to perfection.
Right.
Forsan's is going to have to make some plays with their speed. I don't know if they can stop them on defense, but they're just going to have to make plays offensively to stay with Coahoma.
Does Coach Gardner's team just kind of seem to be ramping it up as the season has progressed? I mean, did they just kind of seem to be getting to the point where they may be peaking at the right time of year?
I think so. That's a team that's gotten better, and you look at them from the game 1 against Greenwood where they lost, and even though they only allowed, and Greenwood scored all their points in one quarter basically.
Right.
Take away that game, and I think it's a different Coahoma team from that first game, and they've gotten better and they've responded to Coach Gardner's coaching.
Right, and that seems to be the big thing. You get a new coach come in there, new system. He kind of revamped everything over there. X's and O's wise, and the kids seem to be taking to it. And you have said this, and I agreed with you that the wing T really suits what the kind of kids Coahoma has, doesn't it?
Yeah, so they ran 9 kids at running back last week. 9 kids carried the ball. So that fits them, and Gardner's has changed their train of thought. Mm-hmm. What they maybe it said, well, maybe we could. Now it says, why not?
Right.
Why not?
That's true. Yeah.
Why can't we do it? If we play great defense and run the football, we can win games.
Yeah. They have recovered very, very well since that loss to Stanton. And speaking of Stanton, they got Hawley this week. Hawley's been kind of everybody's, they've beaten up on Hawley this year in that district. But this is kind of a key game for Stanton to kind of get themselves back going again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is because, they suffered a tough 23-0 loss against Idalou, which I do think is the class of that district.
Right.
Idalou is just that much better than everybody.
Right.
And they haven't allowed a point, but they're all scoring 74-0.
Yeah.
That just tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
So, and Stanton is probably going to finish second in that district, and this is a good chance for them to get going. And they're coming off a bye week, and just kind of ramp it up and just get it going for down the stretch and then into the playoffs.
do they have? Does that team have the kind of potential that they could, if they do make the playoffs, go two rounds maybe?
Yeah, because of experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been there before. Last couple of years, they've been to the playoffs.
That's
so,
right. Yeah.
you know, they have that experience and a very senior-laden team, and they got what it takes, and they're playing great defense also.
Yeah.
You know, Idlewood was just really good.
Yeah,
they're really good.
They've always been good. They've been good for the last couple of years. And then we go back to 3A. District 5 3A continues this week, and I guess Big Spring kind of felt what a lot of people have felt when they played Brownwood. The question is, how did Coach Ritchie feel how his team played in that game last week against Brownwood?
Well, he took the good with the bad, I guess you can say, because you know, Brownwood is just that good,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and it's tough to say. Well, you know, we played great, even though we lost 56-21, 56-21.
Yeah.
It's tough to say we played great against that team, a juggernaut supposedly.
Right.
But you know, they did some good things, and you know, but hopefully they can put that behind them and go, you know, move on to this very tough district. You know, Sweetwater, of course, has been playing better than what many people thought, even though they're coming off the loss too, 21-10,
That's right, yeah.
Abilene Wiley. And they still got Wiley, of course, down the road, and Snyder. Snyder's
Right.
very good. So, you know, you got to put it behind them and move on. But
Right.
no, it wasn't fun giving up 56 points. They put it that way.
Did Coach Ritchie talk at all about necessarily the psyche of his team? You know, after that, have they kind of bounced back already, knowing, you know, okay, we got that game out of the way, we knew it was going to happen, now we move on.
Well, he's told his kids, you know, put it behind them, but until they hit the field Friday night, we'll find out
Right.
for sure. Because the kids can say one thing and then you can act something, you know,
Right.
totally different on the field on Friday night. And that's going to be the key, where they can have a good performance against Sweetwater. And they really need that win against Sweetwater because, you know, you don't want to have to rely on beating Snyder and Wiley down the road, you know.
Right.
So you got to have that win in order to at least give them a shot for the playoffs.
Is that a situation? That's a district where you think 2 wins will get you in?
Probably. But, you know, it doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
So you better hope for as many wins as possible. And if you can get a win over Sweetwater, I think that's going to be the key for the Steers.
And I noticed I heard you earlier. Is Devontae Anderson hurt? Is he okay?
Well, he sprained an ankle, so he's questionable.
Okay.
And if he can't go, Garrett Studeville or Dennis Merworth could start at quarterback. You know, Anderson injured his ankle in the first half, so they didn't have him in the second half. But at that point, the game was already out of reach anyways.
Right.
So he's questionable. Michael Menefield also sprained an ankle, but he might go. So it's just they got kind of a little beat up too, both mentally and physically.
Right. Who do you think's going to win?
I like Big Spring in this one. It's going to be a close game, though. I like maybe 27-21.
Okay. I like Big Spring to win this one as well. I think it's going to be a real hard-fought game. I think it's two teams knowing they have to have a win to give themselves a shot at the playoff. This is a big game in this district. And Oscar, through these first 7 weeks, where we got a little bit of time left here, has there been any one team or one thing that's really surprised you this year, you know, so far when you take a look at the whole scope of area football?
Not really, because I you know, at the beginning of the year, we had our picks for our surprise
Right.
teams, and I said Kahoma was going to be a surprise team.
Right.
And they haven't surprised me as a surprise team. So,
Right.
I thought it was going to be they were going to be better under Coach Gardner. I think the offense was going to suit them great. I also wrote in my column, the cream has risen to the top.
Right.
The good teams have really shown themselves already. Monahan's, of course, 4-3-8.
Mm-hmm.
Even though some people were picking Seminole, and Seminole could surprise
Right.
Monahan's on Friday, but still Monahan's is the team to beat in that
Right.
district. Of course, Brownwood, just plain all world.
Yeah.
Idalou,
Brownwood.
I knew was going to be a really good team. And Millen Christian got a big win too.
Yeah, they did.
Even though they're struggled, and when they play teams from out here in West Texas,
Right.
that's going to happen. I think the Mustangs had a really tough schedule.
Oh, yeah.
That's prepared them big time for that district.
Yeah, that's been the big key for them. They looked a bunch more physical on Friday night when they played against Fort Worth Christian. Oscar, thanks for joining us. I'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Reporter Telegram's Area Football Report. I'm Len Hayward. That's Oscar Leroy. Thank you very much.